So I'm back with Merrin from Active Anatomy in Sydney, Australia, who's a physiotherapist and a Pilates teacher, and I'm now doing a postural assessment from the back.
Okay. All right. When looking from the back view, it's very good to just compare left to right again as you're going through the body. So either start with the feet, work your way up, or start at the top and work your way down. So if we're starting with the feet, as we did at the front, again, I would be looking for the angle of the Achilles tendon coming down the leg versus the angle of the calcaneus through here, which is the heel bone. What you want to do is, if people are rolling outways, you'll see there'll be like almost an arrow. If you look at a line down the midsection of the Achilles versus the calcaneus, it'll show you that it's pointing outways or rolling. So it's always nice just to have a look at the back of the feet to see whether or not they're rolling in or rolling out. If it's super rolled in and pronated, you'll see that the angle will make like an arrow pointing inwards. So you can just check out that to see if they're in a line. The other thing to look for is from the back, just to check to see whether or not you can see toes. So if the person has turned their feet out, when you look from the back, you'll be able to see the side of the foot sticking out through there. So just look at that. If you get them to stand as they normally stand, or a little walk on the spot and then rest. If they're resting and you can see the toes, then you know there's like an adduction going on in the foot as well. All of that, there's no specific thing that you can do just as a Pilates teacher, to address it. However, when they're doing any footwork, anything, lunges, squats, or, bridging where you've got both feet on the ground, watch their foot alignment. Just keep correcting them. Any reformer feet on bar, all that sort of stuff. Just keep the feet in proper alignment. Okay, heading up through the leg, when you go from the ankle coming up, again, I just look at the calf bulk on either side and see whether it's even. Coming up to knee crease, have a look at the knee crease and see left to right whether there's one sitting a little bit higher or a little bit lower than the other. And I think in your case, if I have a look closely, it's pretty even.
Is it?
Yeah, I can't really tell one side versus
so
the other.
if one side would be higher, would that mean one leg's higher or just forearms?
Yeah.
Or could it be just muscle imbalance?
Yeah, it could be. It could even just be the tight QL up here, or a scoliosis or something above the pelvis that's literally pulled this whole side up, and your weight bearing on the other side, and so therefore when you check knee crease, like glute crease, or the hip, they're all up on one side compared to the other.
So the creases in the body are the knees, the glute, and I suppose the fat crease you would call it.
You can call it the fat crease,
crease,
Because the more you are squashed or higher on that side, the more prominent like a crease will be, and you'll be longer on the other side. And flatter on the other side. Okay. So just compare the knee creases, compare the butt creases, again just to see if one side's a bit higher than the other.
So if one butt crease was higher, would indicate that the lower crease is not as active?
It can, Sometimes, if you weight bear on your right leg, if you bring your body weight, see how your butt fires up? So now the crease on this side is higher than the other one, because this one's relaxed, whereas that one's not. So it could mean that it's fired up. So sometimes if someone has a pain in their bottom or in their low back or sacroiliac joint or something like that, it stays fired on. So it can mean that it's stronger in some cases, but it can also mean that there might be pain associated with muscle spasm.
I see,
so
the spasm would just mean that it's switched on because of the pain.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just check. Always ask, is anything going on there, and see what you can find. Investigate a bit further.
Yes. And if we were talking about, let's say this butt cheek was stronger.
Yes.
What would affect in the hamstring and let's say the QL above and below that butt cheek? So would it mean that, because we talked about working in opposites, so if this was tight, then let's say the opposite QL or lats, would you say would be stronger as a compensation? But equally you can have, if this is tight, the hamstring can also be tight, and this, so You just have to do some muscle testing really to
Definitely.
investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see a difference here, I would be checking like around the hips, around the glutes, like just have a look at all those postural tests and see what you can find. Yep,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. And then it's sort of, oh, we look at the PSIS here.
Oh, yep. You look at the PSI, so you're just coming down and you can see the little holes. That's the one that you look for. And then you can feel the little bony bits that stick out just to the side of those little holes. And I'll put my finger on top of each of those. And you can see that the right hand side is a little bit higher than the left hand side of it. You can see
Which
that.
would follow from the front assessment from the front as well.
That's right. And then if you go up a little bit higher
Mm-hmm.
and pop your fingers onto the top of the crest at the back.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can see that this side, the right side's a little bit higher than the
Okay.
left side. Just looking at the thumbs going across and seeing where they sit on top of the pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're looking at the creases, you can see this crease is there. So it's sort of all...
it's all following on.
Yeah, just showing you exactly what's happening there.
Okay.
And then at the back, the big thing to look at is the position of the scapula and also the muscles around the back of the neck. So just having a look here. First of all, is it too low?
Yes.
If you have a look from the spine going out to the scapula,
Yeah.
just make sure they're even both sides, because if this is pulled in,
Mm-hmm.
like a tight rhomboid going on through here, it's like
Yes.
a pinch type of thing, the scapula will sit very, very closely to the spine.
Yes.
Whereas if your shoulder has dropped right down and forward,
Yes.
you'll see a huge big gap between the scapula and the spine.
So you're looking at the medial inferior border of the scapula in relation to the spine?
Yeah, just the medial border, so not
Medial.
necessarily the bottom part of it, the inferior part, but just
The whole medial border?
yeah, just where the border should sit pretty much straight up and down. So it shouldn't be,
Forward,
yeah.
So if I correct my scapula, I have to kind of...
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
But
good.
if I actually let it go,
Yeah.
because of the rotator cuff injury, it wants to kind of fall
Falls
forward
right
and down.
forward,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have to almost pull it back and then, yes.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just want to get that in that nice position. There's nothing that I've read that's exactly how far away it should be, because
A
everyone's
specific
body...
measurement, yeah.
It's just compare left to right and see if one's too far or one's
One's too-
really close, and just check it out. So let these rhomboids just relax slightly. Yeah, that's it. So you just want to just let that
Go.
just rest just
Yeah.
a slight bit. If someone's forward tilted their scapula and you do see that inferior
winging.
angle sticking out, the bottom part of it sticking
Yeah.
out, usually that's from a really tight pec minor. So
Okay.
look for the inferior angle poking you in the eye as you have a
Yeah.
look, and that will show you the tight pec
Pec
minor.
minor. Okay.
If someone's shoulder's really elevated, you can see levator scaps, upper traps will be overloaded through there. So just look out for, the height of the shoulder one side to the other.
Mm-hmm.
I also just have a look at fingertips as to where they're sitting to see whether or not one arm is much lower than the other. Like you can just tie it all in together and see if what you're seeing from the front and the back is the same. The other thing to look at from the back is looking at the ears and seeing whether you can see the ears evenly. So just make sure that the person is looking straight ahead, and if you can see one ear way more clearly than the other, then maybe there's a slight rotation going on through the head as well. And again, if you found, like at the front, one of the sternocleidomastoids is switched on, you'll probably see one side much more prominently than the other. Also, people